sacrificing a lot to take care of this guy. He spent the night with this guy taking care of him. Probably using more oil, probably using more wine, probably ripping more bandages off his clothes or clothes that he had. Total sacrifice. That word is what rings through my mind when I think of kindness as a fruit of the Spirit. Sacrifice. An act of sacrifice. It's going to cost you something. Time, resources, energy. But we ain't even got to the good part yet. Imagine that. On the next day, he took out 2 denarii. 2 days of wages. Now he's paying for the guy. He says, I'm leaving. Here's 2 days. He can stay in 2 more nights. That's a good deal. You can stay in a hotel for 2 nights. I need a place to live. You can stay in there for 2 nights. Get rest. Don't worry about nothing. At least you got 2 nights to stay in a hotel. Here you go. But that wasn't it. That ain't what it was. He didn't just kick him to the curb. I'm leaving. Hope you can roll around. Hope you can find something to eat. You got 2 nights to stay. That's the best I can do. I paid the guy at the front desk. He didn't stop there. He says, the next day he took out 2 denarii, 2 days of wages, and gave them to the innkeeper. Okay? And said, take care of him. You take care of him. You go in the room, you check on him. I left some strips of bandages there, or I'm assuming you'll take care of it. Because of the next statement he says, if the innkeeper had to do something, he's going to pay him for it. So assuming that I'll pay for whatever resources you need to keep him well. Because you take care of him. Well, I'm the innkeeper. And I heard a story about a baby coming through. And I heard about the innkeeper, so I ain't got a room. Kicked him to the stable. And they were calling, baby Jesus. It's this Jesus thing. And I know it's a special event in the temple because a Levite came through a little while earlier. And the priest came through a little earlier. And I saw them walk through town, but you stopped. We don't know what he said. He might have not have said nothing. But the innkeeper remembers this story. No one wanted to take care of this baby Jesus. Maybe it was his grandfather. We don't know. I love to think like that. Maybe it was his grandfather that owned the inn. Maybe we don't. I know it's not the same inn because they're in different towns. But imagine grandfather over here in the town where baby Jesus was born owned the inn, and now I'm growing up. I get to own the inn just like my great granddad. And I was like, yes, our family has arrived. We kept the inn in we got multiple inns now. We're the Hilton. We got them everywhere. And Granddad said the greatest regret he ever had was not giving Joseph and Mary his own room. And he said from then on, if anybody ever needed help, and if someone ever asked for help, I'd help them. Did the wounded guy ask for help? No. Someone asked for help for him. And that met the same criteria. The innkeeper said, whether the innkeeper did it out of compassion or whether he did it out of greed for the money, we don't know. But either way, he did it. He didn't go, I'm not going to do it. So he had at least enough compassion to do it for the money to take care of this guy. Gave them to the innkeeper and said, take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I'll pay you when I return. Well, this guy's walked this road a lot. This guy walks up and down the road. This is his business route. Again, we're speculating. He's selling wine and oil up and down the route. All up and down the mountain, all the little stops all along the way. And that's his job. Go to the temple and I worship on Sunday in Jerusalem the way my Lord told me to. Not as a bad Samaritan. I'm a good Samaritan. I do what Jesus told me or the Lord told me to do. And I'm worshiping in the temple on Sunday. And when I come home, I sell my goods. Maybe I sell some on the way too. And take care of my family. Now this is Jesus. Which of these 3 do you think proved himself a neighbor to the man who was encountered the robber? That was the question Jesus asked him. What question did the guy ask Jesus?
Who is my neighbor?
Who is my neighbor? Here's Jesus. What did he do? Switched the question. Jesus said, which of these three do you think proved himself a neighbor to the man who encountered the robbers? I'd never heard that before. Well, Good Samaritan. It was always about me, right? You be a good Samaritan. He's the neighbor. That's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, I'm the neighbor. I'm not supposed to be a neighbor to everyone. I've always heard this story written the other way from the lawyer's perspective. Who out there is my neighbor? Is it the one down the street? Is it the one in California? Who is my neighbor? That's not what Jesus said this parable was about. Jesus said this parable is about who you're going to be a neighbor to. You are a neighbor to everyone you interact with. Or are you going to pass by on the other side? Fascinated me. Who is our neighbor? It's fascinating. Jesus switched the question on the guy. Again, you're asking the wrong question. It's not who are you supposed to serve. It's you're the neighbor. You're supposed to serve everyone. It's fascinating. But he wasn't done. He answered. This is what this guy's answering. This guy asked the question, who's my neighbor? And then Jesus switched the question. He answered, the one who showed compassion and mercy to him. Then Jesus said to him, go and constantly do the same. It puts a bigger picture on who the neighbor is, doesn't it?